Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Kaze-kan Podcast. A long time in the coming, we should have done this one earlier, but in a sense, I'm kind of glad we didn't. This is another quarantine episode, meaning we're still in our homes, so if you hear any background noises, it's because I'm recording in my main room, my child and my wife, and we're so just bear in mind if you hear any background noise, it's probably the TV or the baby, but that's what we're going to have to work with now, seeing as in the situation that we're in. We hope everybody of our followers is doing fine. Hopefully, you're staying safe out there. And without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So, it's to date this podcast, it's the 23rd. Yesterday was my birthday, and on that day, there were a lot of announcements. One in particular was Min Min was announced for Smash. The new ARMS character was finally revealed, and it happened to be one of my favorite characters. But before that happened,
And
the
I
PS5
know
got
you happy
revealed.
because she busted already.
Yeah, I'm not. To be fair, I can understand people being mad because I'm surprised it wasn't Springman or Ribbon Girl because Springman's an assist trophy. I understand that part, but he could still be a lot of them were assist trophies. But then again, Little Mac didn't have an assist trophy once he was a character, and Ribbon Girl just seemed like not surprising. Twin Tail would have been fine. It would have been like a lot of people I know would have been more excited for her.
It wouldn't make either difference for me because I really don't care about arms. I mean, I just seen the gameplay. I was like, huh. It's like her zoning is going to be a headache,
Uh,
and she has some busted stuff that's probably going to be nerfed in another patch
yeah, but
if
that's
someone
DLC
abuses her
characters.
good enough.
That's just DLC characters in general. Um, But before all that happened, the PS5 and Unreal 5 as well, no correlation, were recently, uh, I guess I would say, revealed. There wasn't an E3 this year because of powers that be. Sorry for that. Um, but from what I haven't seen much into it. We've seen the reveal of the Xbox and the PS5. Um, from the looks of it, I thought it'd be smaller, but no, it's just going to be. It looks. People were making jokes that it looks like an internet router, and I see it. Um, I don't know what to say about this. I was excited for the PS4. The PS3, is there, but the
Well,
PS5, it's
the thing about the PlayStation 5 is when it comes down to it, yeah, it got some games and some of the stuff was interesting. The only thing that vaguely got my attention was Demon Souls, but
oh yeah, I almost forgot about that too.
yeah, that was about it. Everything else on the PlayStation 5 is like, I'm not trying to say it was bad. It's just, people who listen to this podcast, they know I'm a fighting games RPG guy. And so far, with I didn't see anything of the such on the platform, so it's like, whatever.
Yeah, usually heavy hitting JRPGs won't come in until either the end of the life cycle of the console or midway. And
Yeah.
at least in this and as what we've seen as tradition of newer consoles. Um, but
So
I
at
can
the
already
same
tell
time,
you,
it's not like I'm not like I need to get a PlayStation 5 right now.
yeah. Well, the funny thing is that the price hasn't been announced for the game, for the console either, and that's raising a lot of concern for people because that's what kind of happened to the PS3. But if we were to really like, let's say if we were to indulge into the console war fiasco, I would still go with the PS5 over the Xbox because Xbox One is okay if you don't care about JRPGs or just any games in general. If it's on PC and you don't have a PC but you want to play it, I'd say get it on the Xbox. But other than that,
Didn't Mighty Keith make a video on that?
I
It's
haven't.
like, oh well, what game are you getting for the PlayStation 5? Oh, we're getting all these games. What game you getting? Halo. Okay, we getting this, and this. What else are you getting? Uh, Halo. Forza. Okay, they just announced something major.
It's just the
What?
same games. It's the same lineup of games that can be reproduced, and it doesn't matter what number they slap on top of it. They'll still have the hardcore people that buy them. But Gears is on PC, and it's. I mean, it's. I kind of grew out of like. At one point, I was kind of wanting to play it because it was one of those games where you saw everybody play it on the Xbox 360 because everybody owned it. But after the third one, I just didn't like. This. I mean, people love the series, but I don't really care for it. I mean, so much has it's gone through so many changes, too many different iterations, and everybody who wants the Master Chief collection is waiting for Halo 3 to come on PC. Because let's be honest, that's the only one they're waiting for.
Well, me mostly 2 and 3, but yeah,
Two's already available on the PC.
yeah. 2. Well, are you talking about the vanilla 2 or?
The Master Chief Collection 2.
Hmm.
Because the first one came out and then multiplayer of Reach came out, which was weird. But it's like I don't think I think they're too scared to release 3, which is funny because that's the only one that they would have just gotten. I think they would have just won with in terms of people who are loyal fans. Because when you think about it, PS4 is only winning because it's having a variety of games that you can't get on the Xbox or PC. Like the Switch has that too. Switch has Nintendo games. You can't get those on anything else.
Nope.
But with the Xbox, half of the games that you have are going to be on PC eventually, and are going to perform better.
Yep.
There was this one video I liked. It was kind of funny. It was just a little video. I don't remember who made it. It was on Twitter. I just saw it. But what it was when Spider-Man came out for PS4. He was like, he was. I think he was an Xbox fan. He's looking at the commercial of Spider-Man. He's like, guys, it's over. We lost. Like, they got Spider-Man. What do we got? Because like, imagine being a hardcore Spider-Man fan who owns an Xbox, only to not get what people are praising as this generation's best Spider-Man game to date. Like Spider-Man has had a lot of games, but how many were made by Insomniac, the crazy guys behind Ratchet and Clank, and even that one Xbox game, Sunset Overdrive.
Yep.
But Insomniac's a good developer. Oh, and Spyro. Duh. So these, I'm naming all these games. I forget to name Spyro. But no, but I don't know if the PS5 will have Crash Bandicoot 4, but that's another game I'm excited about. I just saw the trailer. Uh,
Eh, some of the stuff did look interesting though. I mean, like the Ratchet and Clank game. I can't help but feel that game feels demo-ish. As
Ratchet
in, it just shows you what the system can do.
Ratchet and Clank, it's it's funny because all the developers of PlayStation have good games under their belt, but they all want to focus on more narrative and cinematic projects. I think Guerrilla Games is working on the Ghost of Tsushima,
Yeah,
which they did Killzone, but they also did Horizon Zero Dawn, and
I'm actually looking forward to that, like Ghost of Tsushima, because it's like
that's the
still yearning
closest.
for a new Tenchu game.
Yeah, that's the closest thing we'll get to it, and it's funny because all Ubisoft had to do, because speaking of Ubisoft with the ninja, they could have released an Assassin's Creed that took place in Japan and with ninjas, and would have won. That's all people wanted from Assassin's Creed was to actually play as assassins. But what do we get instead? Vikings. I don't hate Vikings. I love Vinland Saga. I like Vikings. But when you think Assassin's Creed, when you go back to the first two, it was about being stealth and being blended in, and it was just, I guess, I understand that maybe the ninja aspect seems too easy, but I mean, come on. They did one that took place in America, and that got people's attention, even if it wasn't good or bad. It's just kind of milk toast. But Ghost of Tsushima is gonna fill that itch for people who've never played Tenchu, uh, and see it more as Assassin's Creed Ninja Edition PlayStation style. But for us, we see it as the closest thing to Tenchu we're gonna get. And the
Yeah.
thing I like about it too is that you have that mode to play stealth or play as a samurai, and they even have that mode where it lets you play in black and white.
I mean, they had it a little bit in Sekiro, but Sekiro was more action packed and whatnot. It's like,
And
eh.
it's funny because technically, I think From wasn't From Software the one who developed Tenchu.
Yeah, and they came out and said it originally was gonna be one, but then it's like, nah, let's make it something else. I was like, oh,
Well,
come
to
on,
be fair, I
guys.
mean it's kind of cool. It would have been fine to have a Tenchu or at least a skin or a cameo or something. But I understand
It's like
From,
you could have just made it a prequel to the franchise again. I mean,
but
because
I
that's
can
what you did
understand.
with two.
But I can understand From Software trying to do something completely original. Because I mean, if they never tried anything original, we would have never gotten Bloodborne. Because Bloodborne, even though it kind of feels like Dark Souls, it's not really. And Sekiro, they both play like their Dark Souls successor, but they're completely different games.
Yeah, and
But
at one game I feel enthusiastic for, the other I don't because that's a whole nother rant for a different day. But I think we had it before to where it's like Dark Souls is the hardest game you can never play, and I was like, sure it is.
Dark Souls, look, Dark Souls for me, I like the idea of Dark Souls. I don't hate it. I just
Common
think,
sense is hard to have.
yeah, that's all it is. Once you break it down, like people who play Dark Souls, for veterans will tell you it's really just being patient and being aware of your surroundings. If you can do that, the games aren't hard. There are some BS bosses that have some gimmicks, but once sometimes you have to, some those they won't even defend. They'll say they'll cheese it. It's like, yeah, even those they're like, yeah, that boss is BS, but if you get some help, you can get through it. Like the Carper Demon was the noob crusher in Dark Souls 1, and because the dogs, but that's what the stairs are for, is you lead them up there and you get the dogs and you fall off the stairs and kind of repeat until you kill the dogs, because really the dogs were the only hard part of that fight.
Hmm.
uh but and oh, I forgot. Oh, somebody was playing Demon Souls, and Demon Souls, a lot of their bosses are very clunky, but they all had gimmicks to them that made them more unique. And I think the idea with Demon Souls is they wanted to make it more memorable, more than fun, like just easy to play through. Because there are some bosses that they're fine, they're very balanced, but they're not as memorable. So in a sense, some of these broken bosses are memorable because of how broken they are.
Yep.
If you ever want to get into some really in-depth analysis on the Dark Souls series, other than with the exception of Sekiro and Bloodborne, Matthew Matosis has some playthrough commentaries where he goes through Dark Souls and not sorry, Demon Souls, and he does a really critique on Dark Souls 2. But they're really good videos and they're really
I'm
informative. I love.
feeling I'm getting a hungry and just to play through the franchise and whatnot, just to see. I because mostly I haven't got into the franchise, but the primary reason why I didn't get into the franchise was because people kept trying to say, "Oh, you can't play all these other games. These games aren't as hard as Dark Souls." So, or let me rephrase myself. That I know a certain individual that is well, actually, two to three individuals that are major Souls fans, And every time when I would talk to either of the three, I would always get mixing signals. It's either this game is hard, I'm frustrated, but I love it, but it's hard, and I'm looking at them getting destroyed for not having common sense. And the other one is just, well, you playing all these other games. I don't care about these other games because they don't give me a challenge. It's like, really? It's like, you want to play Radiant Silver Gun, or you want to play Ninja Gaiden Black. If you want to be that guy of,
Yeah, it's funny when people
I
bring
play
up
hard
difficulty.
games.
It's funny when people bring up difficult games, and a lot of people. It's so weird when they fall asleep. It's like Dark Souls, and then you say Ninja Gaiden, I sleep. It's like, really? Like Ninja Gaiden was like Devil May Cry has Dante Must Die, but that's more of a I think the only one that's actually really difficult is just truly difficult is Devil May Cry 3. Like from once when you first play it for the first time.
Nah, it's just when you're under leveled, it's hard. But once when you max out, you can do it's free reign from there.
Oh yeah, I know, but I just mean like some like 12 year
And the
old
Switch version just breaks it even more since you can style switch on the fly.
11-year-old me was not prepared to play Devil May Cry. Yeah, so like that's what I mean for me. But I still liked it. It was just, but I didn't realize like
But you know how it was for us. It wasn't the fact that the games were hard and we couldn't play it. What else are we gonna play?
yeah, and what made it easy to for people to get a hold of Devil May Cry and Ninja Gaiden was just time. It was just easier for us to like sit down and master Ninja Gaiden and Devil May Cry. But now that we're older, Dark Souls, it's Dark Souls. You have to have a lot of patience for. And me, I've been playing Bloodborne, but I kind of took a break from it because again, a lot.
Patience is not my problem. I mean, considering how I already put over 200 hours into like Tales of and the Persona franchise along with Final Fantasy, that's not the problem. It's just like I said, the I think it's the overhype factor of Dark Souls that just cuts me off because
There's so
if you're
many
gonna
good.
hold a game to a standard and then I see the standard and I don't really feel it coming out the gate, then I was like, yeah, nah, this isn't as great as you
Yeah,
making it
it's
out to be.
just Dark Soul and like and it. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of popular games out there. Then there's a lot of games and people. There are some fans, but when it comes Dark Souls to me when it comes to the fan base, it kind of undermines how much more like variety of games there are that are difficult in other ways.
And because I can honestly say the only game that I've truly enjoyed that was Souls esque or Souls like was Sekiro, but that wasn't because it was Souls esque. It was more because, like I said before, Tenchu fan.
Yeah, and it's funny because there are a lot of the ones who love Dark Souls hate Sekiro and Bloodborne because they're not Dark Souls in the sense that it plays exactly like Dark Souls. Because
Yeah.
Bloodborne relies solely on timing
How do I say it? I
and
don't
pair
like the
and
fact that
dodging.
my controls are ass, so I hate this game. What? Does that make sense?
Yeah, isn't Sekiro have where you could it actually has customizable controls?
Yeah.
So what's the problem there?
It's not clunky enough. Therefore, I hate the game. What? If you like clunky games,
It's it
uh,
it's funny because all the stuff that people are saying they're hard for, it's stuff that if you play Devil May Cry or Ninja Gaiden, you would figure out. Like
or or even Bayonetta for the fact.
like parrying in Sekiro reminds me of just parrying in Ninja Gaiden. Just all about timing,
Yep.
and like it's like you see the sword coming about to hit your character. You would think it's also like in Bloodborne. If you timed it right, you dodge like really quick, and you can dodge. You dodge so quick that you can get into an animation where you can start attacking. Because if you dodge earlier, you get a dodge roll, and you're more invincible, but you don't can't get up for an attack. And that's if you time it right, you can get behind the enemy and charge a hit and backstab them and get a crit. Or if you knew how to shoot at the right time to get them stunned, you know. That's why I liked Bloodborne because it was a lot more quicker, and it's just I don't know. It's just there's something about Bloodborne's quickness that I like, and it's all right. You're getting somewhere from, but I don't hate Dark Souls. It's just that um
Eh. Besides the base that cuts me off about Dark Souls is just me when it comes to video games. The fastest way to make me bored is there's a if the game is absolutely nothing but brown. And you know what I'm talking about on that one. When I say pure brown, there is no color to the game whatsoever. It's either black and white or just puke brown.
oh dude uh before we keep going on to Dark Souls, speaking of the stuff you're talking about, because the Unreal 5 was just announced, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm starting to get tired of all the trying to. I can understand. I can't understand. Uh, the appeal of trying to make graphics so realistic to the point that they almost look lifelike, because then it doesn't look
Uh,
because it.
well, I can tell you why they want to do that because some people who are still fighting the console war to this day, that's what they look at. Who has the best realistic graphics? And you can do that, but again, we from the old mindset of you can have the best graphics in the world, but if it plays like trash, it is.
Yeah, and
It's like, no, you don't understand. It looks so beautiful. It's like, yeah, it looks beautiful now, but fast forward 20 years, does it still look beautiful?
yeah, and
I, and then they'll be, it's like, well, and again, that's another tangent for the other day. Well, we already had that tangent about the console, PC, whoever's fighting for their plastic. It don't matter to me. It's like
I
it what comes down to it is
yeah.
what I want to play, and is it fun to play, and is it appeasing to me to play? Because like I was saying about the whole brown, like Sekiro, you can make the argument about oh the graphics look good, but at least the Sekiro it has more colors than just brown.
Yeah, no, of
I
course.
mean, I think the perfect example of what I'm talking about is Gears of War. Gears of War, good plot, fun to play, but bro, I might as well be looking at dirt.
Oh, yeah, no. Okay, so yeah, speaking of that on graphics, I was watching. I Call of Duty World War II is free for PlayStation Plus members, and I decided to download and try it out. And it's just like the first mission is D-Day Beach, and to be fair, it's like it looks good. It their set piece like Call of Duty's good at doing set pieces. That's not really a but it occurred to me like a lot of like a lot of the Call of Duties look so like they get so close to realism that at the same time I can't even tell what's going on. Like
Yep.
I could have
Look at
sworn
these
I
fur
there were 3 times I've
particles.
shot my own team because I can't like I see the enemy and I don't everybody's running in front of you and it's just like oh my gosh it like so many games don't penalize you for shooting your own teammate. And I remember, I know, I get it. Like the old Call of Duties used to do that. If you accidentally shoot a teammate, it resets your checkpoint. But man, it's. But what threw me off on that game too was they've been doing Call of Duty was famous for regenerating health, This one doesn't have regenerating health. And I was like, oh, okay. So it was impressive, but again, it's just I kind of lost interest, and I was like, it's like I couldn't even get past the first mission. And I get what people would tell you is like, oh, mostly people play Call of Duty nowadays for the well, not even from since Modern Warfare 2. Most people buy Call of Duty to play multiplayer. They don't care about how hard anybody worked on the story. And that goes to the point like half of those graphics and half of the graphics don't even matter because half of the time you're just going to be shooting the same people online, so, you know.
Yeah, but that started doing the 360 days. Well, where we started noticing it a lot more to where you remember when everyone tried to fit an online mechanic into their game just so they can peg off of that.
I'll one you up on that. Remember when uh PlayStation games or certain games were selling uh a code. So if you bought the game from GameStop, you had to buy it new because the game would come with a code that lets you play online. It was a game pass to play online with other players. So that way they were trying to stop people from buying it pre-owned so they can make money off of buying the new game instead of buying it at a cheaper price. Like
Yep.
I remember Twisted Metal did that. I think Uncharted 3 did that. It's just, oy. But yeah, Bioshock 2. I remember I was excited for that game. I played the story mode. I played the multiplayer once, and that was it. And then the third one, and Bioshock Infinite didn't even have a multiplayer.
Yep.
Multiplayer is kind of hard, but like yeah, but that's what made Call of Duty special. Is that's most Call of Duty was like the opposite. It's like you bought it for the multiplayer, but people who worked on the game so hard, the developers who put all their time into the game, and then the publisher says, "Hey, we need to sell as much as Call of Duty, so we need you guys to add multiplayer because that's what people like, right?" It's like no, people like multiplayer, like the servers dedicated to like I don't know. It's just hard to explain,
When it
but
comes to multiplayer, like you said before, they don't care about the game. They just want to have that one game so they can play with their friends. But because it's like, no, stop playing that game. Here's a new game. You want the new game.
and
You still want to play with your friends, right? It's
okay,
like, yeah,
yeah,
I still want to play with my friends. So
man,
I'm going to buy the new game.
the
It's like,
P-
hey, see, we don't have to focus on story. We don't have to do anything. We just have to make it look good.
so I
Make it
actually
look good and play good. And that's why Madden people buy Madden every year. They don't care about shoot like necessarily graphics. They just want to play with their friends.
play with care about the stats and everything.
Yep.
Um, but this somebody actually brought up a good thing, interesting thing. It's just that we're coming into the point where the AAA industry is focused so much on graphics and that they're just making these narrative story games that all it really is like they look like just glorified tech demos, like a 4 hour campaign and 3 hour cutscenes. And I'll defend Metal Gear Solid 4, but at least Metal Gear Solid 4 came out in an era where that kind of game was, you know,
It's like,
like
if
what
first
else?
focus
What
on
other?
single player.
So many single player campaign games are coming out with 8 hour cutscenes and 4 hours, like maybe 2 hours of gameplay, and but they're all coming out at the same time. Whereas Metal Gear Solid 4 came out when single player games were just kind of meh. But like, I still think Metal Gear Solid 4 is still a really interesting game. It's just how much Kojima was able to put on and push the PS3 to its limits.
I'm surprised they haven't like re-released
Because
for.
because there's a lot of things that happen in it that have to do with the PS3's hardware.
Yeah,
because there's the joke about Otacon talking about disc 2, but he talks about we're on the Sony PS3.
Mm, it wouldn't matter at that point, like, because people understand that it's an old game anyway.
Yeah, I think the only thing I could see them doing is re-releasing it on the PlayStation console, and just leaving the content as is. It's just able to play it.
Yep. And then instead of you having to worry about the install times, it's already in there. I mean, you just play it.
Yeah, it would just be like kept you waiting, huh? Cause oh my gosh, it took so long to install that game. But
But
think of
once when it worked,
but no, but like think about it. We do that now with 100 gigabyte games now. Like so many games have so much,
so much space and
like
eating
they're
up
not
everything.
compressing their games.
Yeah, but they're doing that on purpose because they desperately want to get away from physical media because they don't. Supposedly they want to do the Netflix way, but it's like,
That's
no,
nobody's gonna do that.
it's like I want something tangential in my hands. Oh, but you're just buying the CD to have it as a coaster, because you install all the data and then you gotta have to download the update anyway.
Yeah, that's
That's
pretty
fine.
sad.
That's fine. At least I have the coaster because whenever the servers run out, I'll just be able to hack the system and permanently install it to the thing and move on with my business.
Yeah, it's it. But but what I was getting at is that we're coming to a point where indie games are actually going toe to toe with AAA games. Like indie games are starting to look like what PS3 and Xbox 360 games were.
Yeah, because it's a lot more easier to develop and they're focused on the game.
Well, not only
Not
they're
so much on how beautiful it looks. It's like, no,
well
people want to play a
to be
game.
fair on that, it's just another thing is that if they do have some really interesting visuals, it's because they're not restricted by the developer who says, "Oh no, that won't sell. You can't do that." You know. So some indie games that do have all that beautiful, like all those pixel art, like for 2D games, the pixel art has gone crazy. But like some of the indie 3D games are starting to look really good.
Yep.
Uh, but that's what we're getting to. Like A Hat in Time is probably one of my favorite indie platformers.
Yep,
You know, it's the
because it
closest thing.
wasn't trying to be Mario or Legend of Zelda. It was trying to be its own thing, but not having a stick up its ass. I'm looking at you, Braid.
But it was in. But the thing is that you could tell the guy was obviously inspired by these things, and it's that was the issue with indie games when the Xbox 360 and PS3 era was that indie games were trying too hard to be something more thematic. And there are
Yep.
still indie games out there that are trying to be pretentious and just a walking like
I
the
do
term
say
walking
my
simulator.
game is a work of art. You just don't understand the complexities of it. I was like, sure.
It's like walking simulator wasn't a thing until the indie scene of the Xbox 360 and PS3.
Mhm.
I think I remember there was this game called Gone Home. It was $20 and you can beat the game in 12 seconds. And I know
For
that's not
20
the point of
bucks?
it. I know that's not the point of it. Because the thing is, you're supposed to explore the house and get the story.
Nah,
But
I classify that as rip. That's 20 bucks wasted.
you want to know what was the funniest thing? The best game, some of the best games are games that came out years ago. Like they just released Doom 64 on PC along with the Doom Eternal, and that was only $4, and I had a blast with that.
Yep.
Sometimes, like being simple is not a bad thing, and some people will appreciate like Undertale. Regardless of what you think of Undertale, Undertale's an example of a game having a really focused on the narrative, the music, and also had a unique style of gameplay. Like it's
Yep.
not your typical RPG.
I mean, you're not playing to win a game. You're playing to have a conversation with its world and its characters, which is fine.
And people
Because
invested
there are
into it.
some games that do that,
And
but you don't see it all too much because everyone's trying to be the next big hit instead of just, hey, let's have fun, you know?
yeah, it's funny because when we say that, I know it's kind of gonna come up when we talk about. I am on the sense that a good story can be told, and I'm understanding that if a game has thematic elements that have revolving around not necessarily politics, but certain things that happen that have to do with that correlate to things like systematic things like the most popular one is capitalism. I understand that what we're trying to do, but my problem is when it comes to those kind of games, it's not so much as the fact that it has to do with politics, but rather it's being so in your face about it that it's not even trying to be subtle, and it's like the developers are smelling their own farts.
Oh, we'll come back to that as the last topic.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, that has to do with it. But
But speaking of topics and ports, Persona 4 has officially been released for Steam. And oh man, I've been having fun.
the shackles of the Vita have been shattered. Everyone is now free to play the best Persona game, and I will take that one to my grave. You can hate
Mm,
me, you can ridicule me all you want, but Persona 4 hits all the right boxes. And you can bring and P1 and P2 fans, I understand that P2 and P1 need more exposure. I'm totally with that,
I
but
think they
it's
need to
not those
remake
two games are
P1
not
and P2.
Persona 4 Golden.
Yeah.
You had to do like I think people need to understand is just that when I'm rating these games, I'm not just rating them because of the story. I'm rating them because of how accessible in a sense that Persona 4 and 5 are highly regarded even to people who don't like JRPGs because it doesn't sit you like down. The gameplay is pretty quick. You can like being in a dungeon won't take that long unless you're really struggling and in terms of like underleveled. But
Yep.
it's Persona's pretty much just Pokemon. This character is weak to this. Once you figure that out, you just kind of do all out attacks and just know if you know you have characters who are weak to that, you just know when to guard. And buffs and debuffs. And once you like it's not a hard game to get into. They do have difficulty settings, and I know somebody will bring up, well, Persona 4 has the very long intro where you don't even play, and it's like, yeah, I know, but once that's gone,
Oh no.
it's
See, you say long intro,
that's
and
not a long intro.
let's not fool ourselves. We've been through the Kingdom Hearts 2 intro, so if you want to talk about long,
Yeah, but that one's interactive. You
yeah,
get to do
pressing
chore,
the X button for a whole hour.
but it never. But like even when I first played Persona 4, it never bothered me.
I mean, looking. So before I go further into Persona 4, you're like, you know what made me laugh?
Switch fans.
Yes, Switch fans. Because when Atlas is saying we're not to Persona 4, and it's at that one moment it's like for Steam,
Let's be
and
fair.
everyone else is screaming and celebrating, and then you just see those two people. It's like, oh,
Let's be fair. Look, for people that are mad that it's not on it, understand this. One, the fact that it's on PC means the preservation of the game is well and is more safe than it would have been. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if anything happens, like if Atlas goes under and all the games just suddenly disappear, on PC, at least it's more easier to obtain and get a hold of the files and the modding
Mm-hmm.
community and whatnot. I can understand them porting. I could see them doing it for the Switch. It doesn't seem like a hard port to do if you think about it. But whatever they're
Yeah.
thinking, Steam is just a more viable option. Plus, it's a $20 thing, and I'm pretty sure it can perform on any other computer, even a toaster.
And it's just wait till they take out the bow, and it'll be fine for even toasters now
But
because I know a bunch of
but
people complaining about that.
yeah, but here's the thing, Switch fans. If it did end up on the if Persona 4 did go on the Switch, it wouldn't have been $20 on Steam. It would have been either full price or $49.99.
Yep.
The only cheap games I bought were indie games, and they're mostly on sale.
Oh,
But
but they would have made more money on the Switch. It's like you say that, but
no,
even though the game was $20, it was the top bestseller on Steam.
yeah, and it has high reviews because it's a good game. But on top of that, it was a decent port. And
Y-
another thing, do I have to bring up Tokyo Mirage Session Disaster? A full price game that had extra things but didn't even fix half of the stuff that they gypped us from the Wii U version
And
at
then
a
we got a
full
censored
price.
version of the game too.
Full price. $59.99. Not $49.99, not $39.59. You could have bought any new game that came out around that time. But if you chose to pick Tokyo Mirage Sessions, you have issues.
And you're not, like I said, not getting the full version. You just getting like pretty much a dumbed down version in America that got ported over to Switch.
With the Joker costume.
That's not really,
$59.99 for Joker's outfit.
not worth it.
And I
So
and I'm not. I didn't even want to hate Tokyo Mirage Sessions, but it's really hard to love it when it didn't impress me the first time.
I mean, if they had like a mod for, well, I'm saying to this date there's no mod for Tokyo Mirage Sessions because my Switch is like moddable and whatnot. They had like a uncensored mod. Then I give it a shot, but it's like, no,
For
I'm not
anybody who
gonna
doesn't
do
know what
that.
we're talking about, when he says uncensored, he doesn't mean what you think. It's more like they edited a dungeon and they changed some outfits, and in context, the dungeon doesn't make sense without it. But there are gonna be some people that said, "Oh, actually, it was a good thing." Like it's
Yeah, Nintendo fans, if you don't call out Nintendo, Nintendo's not gonna get better.
yeah, and it
You can't escape that.
and
It's like it don't matter if it's Microsoft, Sony, or PC. You have to keep giving them flack, or else they'll get complacent and
they defend
sit
it,
on
but
their
they
arms.
don't even buy the game. I don't even think Tokyo Mirage hasn't sold that well.
Oh no, it didn't.
But it's funny because I think the only people who would have bought it would have been the people who would have bought it if it was the original version unaltered.
Yeah,
And when you alienate the people who are willing to buy it, it's deemed a fail. I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles 1 came re-released, and that one I think is doing well. Time tells, because I think some people pre-ordered some people I
I,
know, but that's just oh,
I'm
hit my elbow.
interested in Xenoblade, but I'm wondering if they optimized it this time.
I don't know. My in-law had it. He was playing it. It looks good. It looks like it's just Xenoblade 1 with Xenoblade 2's graphics.
So it's not having no weird engine problems to where you're wandering through a field and then the frame rate tanks.
Oh, I was just watching most of the cutscene and combat.
Uh,
But from what I've seen, I think it's just. I don't think it's the entire game. I don't think it's just a reskin. I think it's actually from. I think they just used the Xenoblade 2 engine.
I'm willing to try it so long as it's stable this time. Because I
Only.
tried to do X. X was a disappointment because of gameplay and weird hiccups and whatnot, crashes. and I was about to get into two, but then when I looked at and also Shadow play it, I was like, nah, I can see the hiccups. It's like
Ah,
you shouldn't just take a footstep in another area and then the game just did.
yeah.
Well, to its credit, it still runs, but I'm trying to make the point it doesn't make sense to go from 30 frames to 60 to 20. That's jarring and whatnot. But yeah, getting back to the whole Persona thing, I'm happy it's on Steam.
And yeah, and keep in mind, Persona 4 was also the I think other than Persona 5, but before Persona 5 came out, Persona 4 just sold. Like it just sold well. I think it
And
did.
pretty much it's showing. And it's a funny story because the person who's over the Persona franchise, apparently, what I'm getting is he never wanted to release it on anything else because he didn't like working on other platforms outside of Sony, which was interesting. It's like okay, I don't like working with Nintendo or Microsoft. I just want to work with Sony. And it got to the point to where, well, we ported Catherine over to Steam, and Catherine is like the beta engine for five, so it can't be that bad. And then he's like, and then what I'm also hearing is saying is like, you need money for Persona 6, so you might as well. And he's like, yeah, right.
Yeah, I think so. What if that means that we'll get all I want is to see all the SMT franchise on Steam.
I mean, in essence, half the money went to Shinigami for Tensei for Switch, and the other half went to Six. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and Lord knows when we'll see 5 SMT 5.
If they ever, I don't know, man. It's how long ago did they say five
I mean
was coming out for the Switch?
to be fair, we waited longer for PS Persona 5 to release on the PS. Remember when the Persona 5 was announced for PS3?
Hmm.
Yeah. So in that what 2014 it was announced, and then it came out 2017
Hmm.
or 2016, whichever one. So not that big of a year. Not like it's not. We haven't waited as long as Duke Nukem Forever fans. There are so many games that took forever to come out. There are games that have been announced that are still in the works, but still haven't had any word on it. And it made me realize, do you know how many games that were announced for Microsoft E3 that never actually released for the Xbox One?
I mean,
It's
we
just
got that
funny.
crackdown though.
Oh man. Yeah, ugh. I hate to be a Crackdown fan. Crackdown, more like crackhead.
The power of the cloud.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Man,
Man, that long ago, huh?
all that's just going back to seeing all like Xbox One was almost doomed to fail, but people were so like hardcore 360 fans that were gonna buy it were telling me, "Oh, well, they said they're not gonna do that."
Because Sea of Thieves was so amazing. Man, if they never, real talk, if they would have never did that, I get what they were trying to go with the whole eventually we're gonna go to a digital future, but they should have known hands down that the gamers weren't gonna accept that out of the gate.
It was too early.
Especially day one, and you forcing them
Oh
to
my gosh.
stay connected 24 hours a day, and everyone doesn't have an amazing internet connection back then.
Oh no, no. Remember when they said that you wouldn't be able to buy the game? You'd have to go to a Microsoft approved GameStop to if you wanted to buy a to play a game or borrow a game or something like that.
Yep. They should have known.
And then Sony comes in with the how to step by step to how to play a game, pre-owned game on the PS, borrow a PS4 game from your friend. It just shows Suhei Yoshida pass a game to another guy. Thank you.
Thank you.
They destroyed like that's amazing, and it's just funny when you think about when like and again PS3, Sony was not say clean, they weren't absolved of their
Oh
sins,
no,
but
we'll never forget $800 and the
yeah,
giant crab.
but that's what people
We'll never forget.
but people are seeing flashbacks with the PS5 because there's no announcement. I see people saying it's like ugh, like getting like guys ready like
But that
getting
sound, but from what I'm hearing, that's just more of the console war thing revving on. Oh, you haven't heard the price yet. They're making mistakes. It's like Xbox is gonna win this generation, and I don't care what people say. If Xbox don't got no games, then it ain't winning anything like anyone else. Like
but
games make the console, not the graphics.
yeah, and at least at the end of the PS3's lifespan, it had a number of games that weren't on any other console, so it did have its exclusives, you know.
Yep.
So,
Ah man, here's the whole hoping that one day Kingdom Hearts will actually be ported outside the Sony platform.
oh man, Kingdom Hearts 3 on the PC.
Man. Nah, could you imagine them modding the drive forms back into Kingdom Hearts 3? Oh lord, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, it's just
Uh,
it's
but
just
but
crazy how
yeah.
far we've come with emulation. I think even it's like I remember when a 3DS emulator was unheard of, but now like I see people. I don't know. I don't remember if it's the Wii U or the Switch that has a good emulator, but they got the Breath of the Wild to run at 60 frames.
Oh, and so beautiful.
Oh man, like that. So, it's like Nintendo usually pushes for 60 half of the time of their games, and Breath of the Wild is an exception. But I'm like seeing it in 60 frames shows that like if Nintendo could, they would. But
Yeah,
that doesn't
but
excuse
like
them.
I said at the beginning of this podcast, they were focused on the game and the gameplay. It's like, yes, it looks beautiful, but that's the second thought. It's like, does it play well? Does it feel good to move around, solve puzzles, and explore? Not no, look at this blade of grass.
Yeah, cuz I don't know, like I do have like I have Nintendo games, but I also was a huge PlayStation fan growing up as a child. I like Crash Bandicoot, Sly Cooper, and all those games. But all those companies are moving away from those games and trying to go into more realism. And the only problem I have with those kind of games is that you can still go back to Mario 64 and have a good time. Hell,
Mhm.
even Sunshine. But I don't see myself really going back to Uncharted other than maybe two and The Last of Us One. But on the PS4 version, I like the 60 frames, but it's just really hard to like convince myself to play them. But if you tell me if I like you hand me Legend of Zelda or Mario like 64, I'll be like, oh damn, like can I have a turn?
Yeah, but man, but getting back to Persona 4 because we got way off a little bit.
Oh yeah, of course.
I have fun playing it. But even though I have fun playing it, it reminds me of what I enjoyed about the franchise even more, and what I did not like. That was eventually polished in five. Like, cause my only thing about four was gameplay, fine, story, yes and no. Cause the main confidants were interesting. It's just the side confidants were just either dumb or just straight up boring.
I think I fall mostly on the category of boring.
Like say for instance, I know you remember Kyle Karu. It's sad when I can
Who?
summarize his whole confidant in a couple of words. Me like sports. Me want to play with you, but you will focus on girl. Okay, me play sports, and that was the whole social rank.
Karu's the basketball player, right?
uh, Basketball, soccer, whichever.
Okay, but yeah, well, actually, because Karu, I think, is the basketball one, and he's like, I'm interested in Chie, and then it's like, oh, and I was like, I'm not gonna do his. And I did the soccer one. He's the one that's committed to sports 24/7.
Yeah.
They're not bad confidants. That one was a more, I think.
Or the one with the old woman. My husband died, and I'm about to die soon. I was
I
like,
am
I
death.
get
It's
it.
like,
The Death Arcana.
yeah, Tay Takemi is like a godsend.
Yeah. Because at least it's like, yeah, she's a Death Arcana, but it was actually interesting because people giving her flack, and you got to help her make drugs to save people to keep them from dying. Cool.
Also,
Fun.
also in P5, like I'll say that about P5. The confidants feel like they do stuff.
They feel more human and
No, but I mean
realistic in
like
a
in terms of
sense.
dungeoning and all that, like Tay's discounts and everything.
Yep.
Kawakami's back massage that lets you do more stuff.
Yep.
It's like it makes you like in a gameplay perspective, it makes you want to go out and rank up your stuff to max out characters to get all these extra bonuses and goodies for New Game Plus.
Yeah, not so much for Persona 4 because it's like, oh, you do this confident. Oh, it's like, well, you're able to fuse this OP persona if you want. It's like, man, that
Yeah,
ain't really
it's like there's
much.
not much you can do because everything. I think the only one that does kind of help, but it's if you grind, you'll have enough money, so it's not ever enough of a problem. Is the fox? It's like, oh, you'll get discount to get that leaf that refills your SP and MP, HP and SP.
Yeah, but the Fox, I don't know if it's me, but the Fox just felt tedious.
Yeah, I mean, I was
It's
trying to
like
do
that
it for
last
achievement's
social
sake, but
rank and whatnot. Oh, go get this rare fish that only appears on thunderstorm days. It's like, oh, I happened to finish that on accident because I was just, it's like, oh, okay, this book taught you how to fish even more. Lightning day. It's like, okay, why not go fish? And I caught the guardian. I was like, huh. But I could tell you back then, I did not want to do it because I just wanted to play the game and get to the end. And it worked, but for golden, you had to try a little bit more. And I figured, since I maxed out my confidants in 5, I might as well try to do it for 4. But that again, that's what I'm saying. The confidants, that's the low point of
what's your opinion?
4.
Well, since technically it's golden, what's your opinion on Marie?
A waste of space.
Yeah,
No, people, I don't hate Marie. It's just
eh.
how they wrote her. It felt as though someone just took a fan fiction character and just said, "Yeah, you're playing the game. Talk to this character, or else you won't get the real ending." And then when you do her dungeon, it
Yeah.
wasn't hard, but it was annoying to where, oh, this dungeon constantly drains your SP.
And then I had an item. I had items for my characters that give you 5 SP each time. Because the thing is, once you defeat enemies, you get some HP restored. But no matter how much your HP gets restored, it always goes back to a really low count.
And that's supposed to keep you on your toes. It's like, no, that's not keeping me on my toes. That's just I have to go up there with a pre-made persona set that's OP for the game and hope that I don't run out of SP in the process.
Yeah, for me, I had my party members had a lot of HP based attacks, so that's how I was able to like Chie's all her attacks. She was like, it would take out a huge chunk of her health, but she'd kill half of the enemies, and then we just rush, So, and then all I would use is Yukiko. I put the SP regenerator on her, so she can heal everybody, and she gets her SP back.
Me, on the other hand, I had the protagonist handle the healing and just have Kanji and someone else do the damage.
Yeah, no, of course. Um, but no, it's just a very it's a it it always seems complicated if new to Persona, but if you played Persona before and you never played Golden, well you'll figure it out. But it's really just a gimmick. Like it's supposed to have it's like the game
I
doesn't.
mean, was it just me or it felt like more of a callback to three? That extra Dragoon, a little bit.
Um, I'm I'm not sure. I
It
just know
kind
that
because it felt like I was going back to playing Persona 3 a little bit with that bonus Dragoon.
yeah. As all I know is that the dungeon is specifically made for you. Even if you have low SP, it never lets you run out.
Yeah.
So it makes you seem like you're really low, but what it is that it makes you. All it really does is teaches you. It just you just once you conserve it, because like I said, even if you have SP regenerating items, it it doesn't help. All it does is that it just kind of loops back.
Yeah.
It's a really it seems tough, but it's not. And
Yeah, it was a
Marie's
good thing I
boss is
had
not really
had
that
that
fun
HP
either.
though. Well, no, not the HP, but I had like Exorb. So whenever someone tried to, I'm gonna do your weakness. Nope, they can absorb it. Cause screw that. And getting back to the whole thing with Marie, I get what they were trying to do, but she would be of little consequence if she wasn't in the game. That was just, I felt that she was just something to give people an incentive. It's like, oh, you played it 1,000 times? Well, here's a new gun dungeon to keep you on your toes. Okay,
Yeah,
now fight the boss of the game. I was like, no. Like, if her dungeon was more fun, I wouldn't have a problem. But yeah, I mean, the cutscenes were cute, depending on who you choose your girlfriend for with. You have like out of context stuff that makes it even more hilarious.
yep.
Like, because the first time I went for Rise, well, actually, I went for everyone to PlayStation 2 because they didn't have that built in.
Oh, the
But
guilt
though,
trip Valentine's Day.
yep,
But I
they
mean,
didn't
even if
have
you
that in
do
the.
it, it's not like you. It's not. It doesn't negatively affect. It's not like it takes away things. It just makes you feel bad. But it's just like, oh, okay. And five does it the best way.
Yep, it's pretty much the moral of the lesson, kids. Do not cheat.
I mean, I still did it just for the
Man.
sake of being because you can. But
Yep.
I always pretty much went like for either Naoto or Chie. And I had nothing personally against Yukiko, but she's just not my favorite. I just, and that's nothing to say against her voice actress, because I met.
No, no, the voice acting is like superb. Everything is like on point. Like if I were to watch the anime, I'll watch the English hands down.
Yeah, and yeah, no, the voice act in the Persona games aren't even that bad. 3, 4, and 5 are really consistent. Um, makes you care about the characters, and the only thing is that Chie's voice. I know some people are used to the PS2 version's voice, and I actually did like her PS2 voice. I don't hate her new one. I understand there's probably a lot of reasons, whatever.
And again, it's not like Chie had like a weird voice to where it's just completely. I don't know. It's like whatever Chie changed her voice, it was whatever for me because I I didn't really pay attention to Chie that much, other than getting her persona and whatnot.
Uh, but she was always my second favorite.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people who are like, why do
like
you have?
I didn't choose Yukiko, but I did like how savage Yukiko could be.
No,
It's like,
Yukiko's not a bad character. It's just in terms of picking like favorite girl. That's
I mean, obviously for me, it's either gonna be Rise or Naota.
yeah, me Naoto hands down. Take that to
Yeah.
the grave. Take from all through from. I still have yet to play 1 and 2 from beginning to end, so I can't really say. But for 3, 4, and 5, in no particular order, Yukari, Naoto, and Makoto. And I don't care. I'll take those to the grave. I will die on that hill. People will always question me with Yukari, and I'd be like, yes. So even yes, but what about But she I,
Yup.
but at least I'm not ashamed. And for Naoto, it's just I don't know. She's just I don't know. I
No,
just
no, I actually like Naota as a character.
it's funny because I do like tomboys and I like short hair girls. So you think Chie would be the perfect, but I
No,
liked.
she lost points with me because she tried to be a cop. I like no, instant no,
I
and
can't really
already
say that.
knows why. I know that's your dream, but I ain't choosing you as my girl. No,
Yeah, I
it
don't know.
don't matter if it's video games or real life. Just no.
I can't really say that because Makoto is technically re- related to somebody in.
Yes, but she wanted to be uh, a what was it called? The district attorney,
Yeah,
if I recall.
she wanted to be.
So that's fine. If you want to be a district attorney, fine. But especially with this climate, no. But let's
Yeah,
not.
it's at least with a district attorney, you can screw people over and it could be legal.
Yeah.
I mean,
But speaking of screwing people over, that brings us to our next topic. And
final topic.
oh, Lord.
Oh,
I never thought this game would let me down this bad, man. It's like, oh,
yeah,
like
it's
I was actually excited for it, but then my brother told me one spoiler, and that one spoiler was it. Which we're saying right now, if you don't leave, you're
this is
gonna
the
hear
one
all
hour and
Last of
seven
Us.
minute mark. Do not continue. Last of Us 2 spoilers, which is the game. Spoilers, the game we're talking about.
Yep.
So from this
So
point
if you
on,
don't
hold
leave
on.
now,
Yeah, yeah.
we already told you.
So we
So
can
let's
all
just get
agree.
into it. So it's a rainy day. I'm chilling. I'm enjoying Persona 4 for Steam, and my brother's having fun with The Last of Us 2. And I figure I don't have the money to get Last of Us 2 right now. I will get it later because I love The Last of Us 1. My brother comes up into my room and tells me, "Oh, The Last of Us 2 has a sex scene in it." And the first thing that I did it was I paused my game and just went, "What?" It's like, "Yeah, uncensored sex scene." And then
Was
he
he
just
bragging
left
about
me
it?
right there, and I'm just thinking to myself, "Dear Lord, I am afraid of what I'm going to play now, and I'm pondering whether or not I should actually commit to $60 to this game. Let me watch a playthrough." I don't usually watch playthroughs, but I had to explain to my brother later on. When I think of The Last of Us, the first thing that doesn't come to mind is a sex scene. And so I'm seeing people are mad because of the leak footage, and I'm seeing Angry Joe's perspective, and I'm getting what Angry Joe is saying. So I just like, you know what? From start to finish, without no commentary, with no personal opinion. I just watched it, and so far, the 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 gameplay with Ellie, fine. Gameplay, amazing. Flashbacks, amazing. What kills the game, hands down, is Abby, and I will go
Oh
into
no.
detail.
No, you have
And
angered
before
them.
people try to at me and jump on my vote, I don't care about the LGBT stuff. That doesn't bother me at all. The sex scene, whatever. Ellie being into a lesbian relationship with another chick, whatever. We already had hints of that in the DLC, so that's
Yeah.
what that doesn't bother me. Abby is because Abby kills Joel and
A well-established character. Like, no, not even that. The main protagonist of the first game.
just kills him. And see, and like I was trying to tell my brother, I wouldn't have a problem if because we're gonna go to the ending in a little bit, but how they handled Joel's death, that was just dumb. Dumb and uh see, I'm getting a headache just thinking about it again. Because we are living in a time to where we have amazing stories when it comes to video games now. That's why we play video games, for the stories and the gameplay and the character development and all that. Now, I it makes me mad because I don't expect this from Naughty Dog. I mean, Naughty Dog, the people who made freaking Jack and Dexter. I might not like Uncharted as a franchise, but I'm not gonna lie, Uncharted has a good plot. We had, and then the first Last of Us. So Naughty Dog has a record of making good stories. I wouldn't expect them to shit the bed with one of their major IPs like this. So getting back to the whole Joel death, he just I think Angry Joe summed it up in in a perfect way to summarize what makes me mad. It's like, yo, Joe, you want to play this game? It's like you're not gonna like it. Oh, it can't be that bad. Oh no, yes it is. Joe got killed with a training with a golf club, and that sums it up. Yes, Abby, I again, nothing again gets the community. Like I said, the gay undertones that don't bother me. It's how they handle Joel and Ellie a- as a character. And to get back to the point with Abby, originally it was set in stone that both Joel and Ellie were gonna die.
Yeah.
And so, and then to make things even worse, here's the thing: Ellie and Joel will die, and you're forced to play as the person that killed both of them.
Yeah, and these are regarding the leaks that came out a little bit beforehand. And
Due to the major backlash that they had, it's like they gave us a different ending,
it almost feel
but
yeah, it really does feel
they
like that.
Mass Effected us. It's Mass Effect 3. It's like all over again. It's like, okay, we'll give you an ending, another ending that's just as worse as the ending that we gave you the first time. And it's like, come on, really? You really want us to like Abby that badly? I can't. And I know my brother was trying to tell me, oh, it's the revenge plot line in Ellie won because no, Ellie took an L.
What
She didn't kill her.
since when did I don't know where I really hate the trend that we're subverting, like we're doing the opposite, like, oh, the tale this is bad. You're a bad person for doing the things that Or like, these characters
Oh,
really.
Ellie kills dogs. Abby pets dogs. And for the people that are trying to convince me that Abby's a good person, I will stop them right down and just say, no, Abby is an evil person. She gets a rush from killing people. She will torture people for the fun of it.
Yeah, she was about
She
to.
is,
It's funny. Like she was ready to again. It's funny because I know somebody will say this. I know because Ellie in the game kills a pregnant woman, but to be fair, she didn't know. Abby was going to kill a pregnant woman, full well, full with full knowledge that she was. She even said good. The only person that stopped her was the kid that she's traveling with.
yeah.
She's a psychopath.
And Ellie is more human to where yeah, you can see she don't like doing that. She's getting scarred and whatnot. But at least there's somewhat of a human aspect to Ellie. Abby just don't care. Even the people who care for Abby say, "Look, we appreciate what you're doing. Could you please stop killing?"
You're kind of, but like she's like they know they can't do anything about it because she could just grab their neck and just snap it like a twig because she has the biceps of Senator Armstrong from Metal Gear Rising.
Yup.
But the funny thing is that okay, let me just say my piece on this because I know someone's gonna be like, you should play the game and really get a sense of and like, no,
No, I don't need to play the
we
game.
will, and if we're gonna play it, we're gonna play it without putting any money into it. Because for me, on my perspective,
They
if
don't deserve the money for this
if the
because this is a
allegations
failure.
and not only that, if the allegations are true that they were mistreating their employees, you really think I'm gonna do that? And it's like to me, it's like somebody's brought up that
I
I
mean,
don't
they
think
don't
these things would have
deserve a
been leaked
reward for
if
this.
I think the tip. I honestly, in any if this our climate of stuff that was going on, and I'm talking about more of the virus kind of thing, if the actual like COVID wasn't going around, I'm pretty sure if it was just a normal day in the office, I don't think these leaks would have happened. But situation that be people being forced to stay in late, you know how crunch video game developer crunch is, staying at the office, working late. Somebody just had it up to here, and there's
Well,
allegations
not
that
only
Neil
that,
Druckmann
but
was a just a terrible person to work for, and he was giving people shit, and it probably tipped that guy over, and that's why he leaked the game.
so I'm just trying to say it immediately. Whoever wrote the scenario is like, no, no, just no. I know you're trying to be risque. It's like, but let me tell you this right now. For anyone who's listening to this podcast, consider the following: gay people have been in video games since its conception. It's just how they were portrayed were different to how they're portrayed now. I mean, if like people who play Persona, y'all know what I'm talking. Or people who play RPGs and other games, y'all know what I'm talking about. So to try to say, "Oh, look what we're doing with our LGBT characters. We're being edgy. We're being revolution." No, you're not. Stop. You're making yourself look like a fool. I mean, because if you just kind of trying to sell your game because you're a piece into the LGBT movement, just no. It's like you full of shit, and the scenarios that you are writing are full of shit. I
And
mean, cause how is it I can get more respect on the subject matter with an Eastern developer where when how cause since we're going to spoiler territory, like say for instance Kanji from Persona. It's like, yeah, they had undertone tones talking that he might be bi, but they handled it to respect to where they're not like, oh man, look, he's 100% gay, he has pride. It's like, no, no, he's bi. bi, feminine. He likes dudes. He likes women, and he likes now to likes the protagonist, and you get where I'm going.
No, I understand.
Handled with respect. Fantasy VII. They had a cross-dressing scene to where obviously Tanjiro is gay, but they don't hoof it down your throat. Look at it. Look at him. He's gay. He's
It's
fabulous.
not the selling
No,
point.
no. Andrew Rode is Andrew Rode. He sees Don Carnerio screwing over people, and he figures that, you know what? I'm gonna help Cloud. I'm gonna help Aerith, and I'm gonna do my best I can to help them out. It's like, but if you want to get past them, you're gonna have to do something for me. Okay, cool, cool. All right, Cloud. I like you. I'm gonna hook you up. Go save the day. See, that's a
Yeah.
difference, and that's what I'm trying to say. I get more respect from people outside the Western Hemisphere around the subject matter than I do with the people with the web over here, because they're just, look at these people. They're gay. Buy the game. We're being edgy. We're being bold. It's like, shut up. Like,
Yeah, it's a lot of the times, and I just it's kind of like the
and
same
I'm
thing.
saying, as a fan of storytelling and as a game developer, that's and I think it gets more of what I'm talking about as a developer too. If you're going to sell your character, if you want to make a character who's gay, you flesh out the character. Don't try to go for some cheap bullshit shit tactics where,
Yeah, it should fall along the lines of this character is backstory. His backstory is this. This character's can it has gone through this, and it's like people are like, wow, that's a really good character, and then it's like, oh, and by the way, you know, he's gay. It's like, oh, okay. It's just like it's not like it's like, hey, he's gay. It's like, all right, what's his story? What does it matter? He's gay. Look at the clown. Like, it's like, oh.
and that's what I'm saying.
And to be fair, Ellie wasn't written like that, so in a way, she was kind of done right. There was even that Bill character in the first game. You wouldn't even know if he was, unless you actually explore the area and
But
look at
again,
things.
that's what I'm saying. If you're going to handle the subject, at least have some form of, uh, you know,
It's just too much things to go into it, and that's a problem what people don't understand about writing is that you just can't say a character is this, and it makes them people like. And then, I mean, for it's low hanging fruit. People that don't care about writing are going to eat that stuff up. And the thing is that the reason why we don't like Abby is because we have no reason to like her. They expect us to like her because they show us the perspective on her end. And it's like, yeah, if you did that with any character that Joel's killed or any just random jobber, of course it's going to seem like you do it if it wasn't Abby and just some random person, it would have been just as dumb. The thing is that we'd have to play the thing is that the only way to actually make this acceptable is if you did it if we knew we weren't going to play as Joel and Ellie.
yep.
If all the trailers were just announcing you playing as this character and it was just called Last of Us 2 and people would be like, "Wait, where's Joel? Where's Ellie?" And then the twist is that, "Oh my gosh, like what?" And it's just like in a way if in a sense for worse from we're seeing from their perspective and it almost seems that Ellie and Joel are put in the bad guy, like they're almost put as the bad guy for the game, but it's really just we're seeing it from a different perspective. It makes you think, oh my gosh, it makes you like, do we really do the right thing? Because people are
And the
already,
thing about it, going back to the whole Abby thing, see, I'm gonna get to the ending now. So, the ending, Abby lives, and I'm thinking to myself, what? After all that stuff she done did, she's gonna live,
mm-hmm.
and Ellie lost her fingers. It's
Yeah, and
like,
she can't play the guitar that Joel gave her.
and it's like, no. but she won because she ended the cycle of revenge. I was like, no, she didn't.
It. I mean, did you not see like if the body count that Ellie had to get has to get to Abby?
Nah, the fact that Abby killed essentially her surrogate father and tortured her surrogate father in front of her face, and she didn't kill it. No, that ain't a W. That's an L. And I was talking about this with Ed Offstream. It's if you wanted to make this ending to work, the only way for this ending to work is if before Joel died, he would go out in a blaze of glory. Like say for instance, if Joel took down three military factions and he was tired, and at the end there was Abby, and Abby brought, do you remember so and so and killed for the Fireflies, and then she killed Joel. That's the only way for this ending to work. But we seen what happened. She didn't. It was none of that. She just shot Joel in his kneecaps with a shotgun and
And
just
beat his head
tortured
in
him
with
to
the golf
death.
club.
It's just, no. It's like you can't get convince me to like such a
And,
person,
and the thing
especially
was
going
is
out
that
that way.
you're killing all of her friends in the game, but they're showing how like oh they're just people like you or me, and it's just like yeah, but if they killed a family member of mine, I'm not gonna be like, oh my gosh, I never knew what you were
I
going
mean, because
through.
I'm not mad that she took revenge on Joel.
That's not
That's not
surprising. That
that's not
it could have
surprising
been
because
anybody.
it's just how they carried out the death to where I'm gonna kneecap you with a shotgun and then I'm gonna just torture you in front of Elliot's face. It's like, come on.
My name's Abby. I'm super cool. I'm super strong. I could take down a protagonist of the first game, and anybody who tries to fight me, I can beat them up because I'm big and strong. Like, she just seems like a Mary Sue. And
Yeah.
Ellie, you would think, like, and the thing is that we like Ellie. We, like, you can't make us like, if we had to pick between Abby and Ellie, what makes you think we're going to pick Abby? You have a lot of the first game to make up for to even make us think to consider Abby in any sense of the matter.
Yeah.
Like you almost had to have a make a completely game before this to make us think, huh, this Abby character's pretty cool. You like, but just throwing us into this, especially when
And
everybody's
then to top it off, random sex scene. Her spicy. Yes. No.
yeah that
You're not making me like this character even more.
yeah that part I don't know. I think that was just put there for a specific Neil's entertainment.
Yeah, that
There's apparently a rumor saying that he was the one that mocapped that. So,
I don't I don't
but
know. And
I'm
at
not
this
saying it's
point I don't
true,
care because
but
it's
it's just funny to seeing all the like.
I ain't, but you get where I'm coming from. To top all that off, we're forced to play with her for the rest of the game, and then random sex scene, and then finally, when you get to the end, it's like I don't care what people
I
say. To
don't
the
care about this
end, I just
character.
hated her completely.
Oh my gosh,
And
she's
I
the
told my brother because my brother was like, "Oh, you looked at the playthrough of the game, so you should have played the game." It's like you didn't do that for Persona, and I just said beat Persona 3, 4, and 5 by myself. When I told, it's like when I beat Grand Theft Auto 5, I didn't tell you what had happened at the end of Grand Theft Auto 5. I just kept giving you the hint, i.e., like, did you beat Grand Theft Auto 5?
I beat Grand Theft Auto 5, but I just got
Okay,
the
so
ending where
you know the Death Wish ending, right?
no. See, that's the thing. I only did the one where you don't pick a side. You just get both together and you take out all the people, and it's kind of like the good, like the
Yeah, that's the Death Wish ending. But when I beat the game, I didn't tell my brother what happened in the Death Wish ending. I just said just remember by the end of the day in Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft, no matter what you do, someone always wants a Death Wish. But you see what I did there? I gave him a hint to choose the true ending, but I didn't tell him what happened. I just gave a hint,
Yeah.
supposedly to someone. Random sex scene. I was like, oh, what?
And for the record, we don't doubt that the gameplay, like all the shooting and stealth
No, the
works.
gameplay is
That's never been the
absolutely
issue.
superb. It's fine.
It's
It's
Last
the
of Us.
character. Yep.
If you play Last of Us 1, it's pretty much the same, but with refined animations and more gory. But it's like, oh, look, the characters now yell the names of the people you killed. It's like, I don't care. Like,
Yep.
like people forget that, especially if you play video games, there are so many games where you just kill random jobbers and there's no consequences. And making us feel consequences of something only ends up being like, oh, that's kind of stupid.
Yep.
And it's just like and also Metal Gear Solid 3 did that before. It's like if you killed people in the campaign, you go through this river of everybody you killed. And on top of that, there were very specific ones. Like if you kill a guy and a vulture eats his corpse and you kill the vulture and you eat that, the soldier that comes down the river said, "You ate me. You ate me." It's like all any character that you killed a specific way, like gimmicks with certain things, they come down like that.
But see, that's the difference. Effort was put into that. I can't say that with this character at all.
Oh, and in Metal
It's
Gear,
like you're gonna love this character, and if you're hating, because
yeah,
you
no,
don't
I hate,
like the LGBT, it's like, no, you
yeah,
idiot. It's like I don't like your character development. I don't care about your sex life or whatever you count yourself as. It's like I love these two characters, and you killed the two characters that I love, and then you're expecting me to love this Mary Sue of a person. It's like no, just no. You don't respect your characters, so why should I respect your new character?
it should have been like if it was a character from the first game, maybe. Like let's say hypothetically, uh, like let's say if Tess uh didn't die in the first one, and
Yeah.
let's just say like I'm just saying randomly, like whatever, blah blah blah, she didn't die, but she found out that Joel killed the Fireflies, and she couldn't forgive him for that, and she's the one that ends up killing Joel, and now it's a pursuit to chase down Tess. That actually would have been like, oh damn, like, because that's a character that if you ended up, you see her interact with Joel, you kind of bond with her. It's like it kind of sucked to see her go, but
Yeah.
it's
But another thing is the people that are trying to say this game is a masterpiece. It's like, no, stop. It's like 10 out of 10. It is
it's
not
a
a 10 out of 10.
well-functioning garbage truck. The garbage truck picks up the garbage and it does it right. It crushes the garbage with efficiency, but it's still a garbage truck. It
If you
still
were to give
smells
it a
like crap.
7 or a 8, then I get you. But to say perfect, it stands along the line legendary game, like Breath of the Wild, Skyrim, and all this. It's like, no, stop.
Everybody knows the perfect game is Super Mario Brothers Odyssey. Just kidding.
Again, you want to, it's like, this game doesn't even hold a candle to that because, again, I know people are trying to say, oh, you just hating because see it. You're hating because you don't like the game or like console fanboy, insert the reasons, but like
And
we've
it
been
could
trying to explain, it is not the gameplay. It is not the gay undertones that kills the game. It is a character.
a character that you're forced to sympathize and like. Otherwise, you didn't. If you don't like this character, then you missed the point. And it's like, all right, I don't care. It's like I get revenge bad. It's like, I mean, even kids
Well, it's that and
cartoons.
how they handle the development where, well, okay, we're just, oh, You want to know a perfect comparison to The Last of Us 2? Prince of
Uh,
Persia.
hmm,
You remember the first Prince of Persia, right?
a little bit.
And then Warrior Within.
Hmm.
To where Prince of Persia, tongue in cheek, nice, fun, good story, fun to play. Warrior Within, death battle, angst everywhere. You're
Godsmack.
killing everything. Everything is melting. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
That's what this reminds me of. Which again, I wouldn't expect this from Naughty Dog.
Eh.
I don't know. It just makes me sad because I know the Last of Us universe can be expanded, but with how this game played out, I doubt we're gonna get another game because this is just way too bad to overlook. People are gonna buy it because they want to see the controversy, and it's gonna quote unquote sell units. But to make a sequel, the sequel because everyone loves to play it plays at Ellie and Joel. So
Yeah, and in fact, there's a
can't do
video.
that
It's
now that Joel is dead and Ellie is a bit more now. So it's like no.
yeah. Uh, there's an hour and a half video, and it's just the flashbacks of Joel and Ellie in The Last of Us 2, and everyone's like, I would have just like a game of just this.
Yep.
It's like I get it. I know they were trying to make a deep and enriching story, but it's
But the
not what
writing
people.
is just so damn cheap.
Sometimes, sometimes the most bold tactic, in an artistic standpoint, it makes sense. But sometimes that's just not what people want. It's people just wanted a Joel and Ellie adventure 2 Electric Boogaloo. Like I think people would have in this at this point people would have just if it was just a dancing mini game and you play as Joel and Ellie out on the dance floor with disco lights. I think people would have preferred that over this game. Or if
Yep.
it turns out aliens are the cause of the outbreak and Joel and Ellie have to go into outer space.
Again, that would be more entertaining than what we got now.
If the as long as Joel and Ellie went on an adventure, no matter what it is, people would have preferred that. It's like, and I because the thing was, I was looking forward to see what they would have expanded upon if Ellie found out that Joel did what he did, and that happens in the game, but it's just kind of like an afterthought. I think they were so obsessed on making a character who you would hate to love, but love to hate, but that character can be sympathized.
Bro, Abby is no Dio Brando. No, stop.
Yeah, it's just like how that's weird. It's just like Griffith and Dio are characters that you should hate, but people like them. But because they like them because they know that they're inherently chaotically evil.
Yep.
You know, Dio knows what he's doing. He has no regard for anybody but himself.
Yep.
And you kind of almost got to respect him for that. And the problem with Abby is we're supposed to sympathize with a character who practically killed the father figure of a character.
And it's not hesitant to kill her own loved ones on the turn of a dime.
We're supposed to like a character that's about as interesting as wet bread. It's like, oh wow, look at that wet bread. It's so depressing.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go play The Last of Us One. I don't have time for this.
And yeah, like a lot of things been going on with this pandemic been going on, but it's just disappointing. We had all these other good games that came out this year, and then this happened. It's like, come on.
And that's probably gonna. And the worst part is, The Last of Us Two is probably gonna be the only best AAA game to come out this year. I don't know anything else. Well, I know
I
there's
guess what
Crash
I'm
Bandicoot, but like
seeing is a bunch of people. They're trying to do. Oh well, it ain't that bad, and then they get to the Abby part, and then it's like, no,
even if you understand everything, it's just the ending should have like one of them needed to die because you can't just put all of this just to be a cop out. Just get out of here. I never want to see you again from either side. I would have been less mad if Abby did end up killing Ellie because at least it would have been like, all right, that's what they were going for. I saw that coming. I'm disappointed but not surprised. But
yeah,
then neither of them die, and it's like, oh, okay. So it almost feels like a cop out. It's like they did take heart to the leaks, and it's like, oh snap, we need to fix this before.
we can't kill Ellie because of the backlash. So,
But we can't kill Abby because that wasn't the point. Because we needed a stinger for the Last of Us 3 if they ever make one.
which that might never happen now,
Good. Unless it's called The Adventures of Tommy.
right?
I mean, that's the cool thing about world building is like Last of Us 1, you see all these cool characters, you wonder how they got there.
I mean, there's a ton of other different ways we could have had a better ending or better just how the characters were in there. There's like a billion other scenarios where we could have had to where it would have been more satisfying than what we have now. But no, we gotta be edgy. We gotta pander to people. And it's like, I'm gonna have this
No,
character in the
not
game and you're
pandering
gonna
to
love it.
people, pandering to themselves.
Yeah.
It just feels like somebody, like, you can tell, like, Neil Druckmann and whoever is on board with him. Because a lot of they got rid of half of, like, the Naughty Dog staff and even, like, some of the good writers that actually worked on the good parts of the Uncharted series and
Well,
The
that
Last of
explains
Us.
why the story is much of a dumpster fire. I mean, they just took the brand name and ran the brand name down to the ground.
It was gonna. Oh, it's gonna sell. It's Last of Us 2.
Yeah, it's gonna sell because again, exclusive, and a lot of people were hyped for it. But I guarantee you, it's gonna have that thing to where everyone is having fun, and once when they get to that Abby part, it's like, I don't like this.
There's nothing to like about her.
I mean, kind of reminds me of that one time to where they had a stream of this Korean. He was so mad that how they handled Joel's cutscene, he just took out his copy and just destroyed it.
Uh,
I was like, I don't blame him, man, because and let it be known that I rarely pawn my games. Last of Us 2 would be the exception. Because there was only one game that I pawned, and that was Shadow the Hedgehog. Well, no, let me correct myself. Shadow the Hedgehog and Guilty Gear Isuka.
oh
Those
my
were,
gosh.
yeah, you remember. So the only reason why I pawned like Shadow the Hedgehog because the story was dumb. I beat the game 100%. That's like, wow, this did not feel like Heroes or Adventure 2 at all. It just sucked. I'm gonna take it back and go get another game. And same thing for Asuka, to where I wanted to play Guilty Gear X2 Midnight Carnival, but they didn't have it. So Asuka was this weird party game. Yeah, nah, I'm taking this back. So, but Last of Us, it's pretty much right there to where I will be mad, I will beat the game, and then I would immediately take the game back to Game back because they don't. I can tell you right now, they don't deserve the $60 for this game at
Yeah,
all.
if you really want to see the circus of this game, either rent it or wait till a price drop.
I
Uh,
wouldn't. Well, what I've seen, I wouldn't even price drop. S- Sure, I'll just avoid it.
or watch a let's play.
Yep.
I'm just saying if they really want to see what we're talking about, and it's just like, well, let's plays aren't the same as experiencing. Oh, really?
No,
Wow. It's almost as if. Who would have thought?
no, no. It is.
But
I'd
it's.
say to a certain extent it is because, like, obviously, I'm not gonna watch a playthrough of Persona. I'm just gonna play it. But that's the difference. It Persona captivates me to play the game. Last of Us 2 does the opposite. It makes me not want to play the game. It, and I don't know how many times I can hammer this point down. The death of Joel, that didn't make me mad. Or all the other stuff. It's just Abby. Abby kills the game full stop.
Yeah.
Like if they didn't have Abby in the game, this game would be a lot different, and I wouldn't have the problems that I had today. It'd just be like whatever, move on to the next thing. But the fact that no, I'm gonna tell the story of how Joel and Ellie were written to begin with, and you're going to enjoy my new fan fiction character. You know, like, no.
It, it
If you expect people to enjoy that, then no, it's like you're not a good writer. I'm sorry.
there is a movie
I
called.
mean, I've got better though, because I had to make the point. I'm sorry to the film buffs out there, but Ed Wood can make a better ending for this game. Shoot, my brother can make a better ending for this game. It just comes to show you how bad this is.
Yeah.
And movie buffs know what I'm talking about when I say the words Ed Wood.
Yeah. Not me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just no. There's a movie. Speaking of film buffs, there's a movie called Blue Ruin that um talks about that it's about pretty much about revenge, and it's showing it's a story. Revenge is not really all that amped up to be. In fact, uh, it's one of those where technically the dude doesn't even get his so-called revenge, and it's a really good movie. It's called Blue Ruin. I think it's still on Netflix, but that movie to me, so like the whole revenge bad and it's not what it is story for me doesn't really. You have to sell it to me. You have to do it better than that, than what Last of Us 2 did. Is all I'm saying. That
Hmm.
they're trying to be like movies, but if that's the case, a game shouldn't. It's you might as well, if you're gonna make a movie, you might as well make a movie.
Hmm.
But we need to wrap it up. So in conclusion, for me, for that, Abby's a terrible character. For us, there's nothing that she could have done. There's nothing she because the damage is already done. She's a bad character for us, and she almost practically ruins the entire game to a point where we're not even willing to buy the game.
And from my point of view, it's like someone gave The Last of Us 2 to Paul W. Anderson and just said, here, enjoy. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, but
And the community is just no, no, we don't like it.
yeah, and, and it's just one of those things where people be like, "Oh, just because everybody hates it doesn't mean it's bad." And it's like, oh, I mean, that's it's just hey, it's shocking.
Just as is their opinion, this is ours.
Yeah,
If you want to play the game, play the game. But I know I sure as hell won't. I ain't playing it, and I ain't supporting Naughty Dog with this one. Because I know they can do better as a video game studio. A lot
yeah.
better.
And then there's gonna be the people who like it out of spite. It's like, oh, you don't like this character? Well, we do. And it's like, okay, that's fine. I mean, that's not
Yep.
gonna change our opinion, but
Yep.
I mean, we can't change your opinion either. We're not trying to change anybody's opinion. We're just letting you know that we're just on. We're just. It's just we both see it as we just don't see the appeal of this character, and because we don't see that appeal, there's nothing really in that game for us because she's majority of the game. She's half of the game.
Hmm.
I mean, some people were like saying, "Oh, the funniest thing I had about Last of Us 2 is just playing as
It's like
Abby."
Metal Gear Solid 2 did it right. Last of Us 2 did it wrong.
Metal Gear Solid did what everything The Last of Us did, and what many games who try to make themselves more cinematic do end up failing. But Metal Gear Solid is the one that does it right. People can complain about the hour-long cutscene in Metal Gear Solid 4, but it made you feel guilty about your kills in that game too, in gameplay as well, mind you. 3 did it. Metal Gear Solid 2 makes you actually think about your actions and consequences more than anything in The Last of Us 2. And those games came out before, motion capture was a thing and all that stuff. Kojima, I may not have high opinions on Death Stranding because I still have yet to play it, but Metal Gear Solid, forget about it.
Yep.
Anyway, any other closing statements?
Sure, I'm gonna need me a good game to wash that taste out of my mouth.
Persona 4.
Oh, I already got through being Persona 4, so
No, I know. I mean, just play it again. Or
yeah, I need to get ready for the fight anyway.
yeah. All right. Well, everybody, we're at the hour and 51-minute mark. It's been fun, and we didn't mean to end the episode on a downer. Hopefully we'll have some better topics for the next episode. But as usual, I'm your host, Ed Tama 23.
And I'm a mug.
And y'all take it easy. Stay safe out there.